Every night, the sound of keys outside the door turns the cat into stone before the man even steps inside the house. It does not race forward anymore because excitement died long ago, and now that same doorway only means danger wearing a familiar smell. The moment metal clinks, it disappears beneath the bed, folding its body tight as if making itself smaller could cancel what comes next. In the dark below the mattress, wide eyes fix on the door crack, while staggered footsteps and muttered curses crawl through the room.
Gotta find it.
This was not always fear, because the same cat once waited by that door every evening. Tail high, certain love had returned. It used to rub against his legs, trusting the hand above its head, never guessing tenderness and terror could belong to one person. At first, the rough nights felt confusing rather than monstrous. Unlike a sudden weather change, the cat could not predict or understand. By morning, the house looked harmless again, with sunlight on the floorboards, pretending nothing ugly had echoed through those walls hours earlier. Then sometimes, a sober hand would stroke its back. And that tiny kindness reopened hope the way a cracked window lets in air. So the cat kept resetting its heart each dawn, believing maybe tonight would stay gentle. Maybe tonight the voice would stay human. But evening always returned like a sentence, and the cat learned that darkness did not bring rest inside this house, only waiting. Soon every small sound became a warning, from shoes scraping the threshold to a bottle touching wood somewhere beyond the narrow hallway. Its body began reacting before thought arrived, muscles locking first, breath shortening next, as memory trained fear to move faster than reason. It stopped greeting him, stopped winding around his ankles, stopped announcing hunger, as if silence itself might keep the night from noticing. Even its meow faded away, because any sound felt dangerous when the wrong mood could turn one careless second into pain again. Now it watches from shadowed corners, ears tilted toward the entrance, measuring distance, timing escape routes, and listening for the weight of footsteps. A slight pause at the lock, a stumble on the floor, a breath soaked in alcohol, and its heartbeat immediately loses rhythm. Even before he speaks, the smell tells the truth, and the cat knows the version coming through that door will not be safe. Sometimes the food remains untouched until midnight, not because appetite is gone, but because survival feels more urgent than hunger and danger. It drinks only when the house goes still, slipping out carefully, quick and silent, like a creature borrowing time inside someone else's storm. Night after night, the cat maps the room by fear, knowing exactly which corner hides longest, which gap opens widest, which shadow protects best. The darkest space under the bed becomes its safest country, a cramped border where paws tuck inward and hope survives on silence alone. There it holds its breath between movements, because even the tiny jingle on its collar feels too loud for nights like these. Yet hiding does not erase memory, and sometimes beneath the bed, it still remembers warm knees, gentle fingers, and afternoons that once felt ordinary. That is what hurts most. The cat is not only afraid of him, and it is afraid while still loving him somehow deeply. When he speaks softly in daylight, the cat sometimes steps closer, betrayed by longing, as though kindness might finally explain the nights away. Then one sudden movement makes it flinch back, and the old confusion returns, because its body remembers what its heart tries forgetting. A purr may begin and die in the same second, trapped between craving comfort and fearing the price comfort might demand tonight. The man may notice only a quieter cat, never understanding that silence can be the shape fear takes when escape is impossible. Living here teaches one brutal lesson. Danger does not stay constant, so the cat cannot relax because it never knows which man returns. If cruelty arrived on schedule, fear would at least be simple. But unpredictability turns every ordinary evening into a suspended sentence again. So love and terror knot together inside the same small body, pulling the cat forward in daytime and dragging it backward every night. Stress starts living in its fur and skin, making grooming frantic, sleep shallow, and stillness feel less like peace than collapse afterward. Even when the house is bright, true rest never comes, because safety borrowed by morning can always be taken back after dark. It dozes with one ear alert, waking at harmless creaks because trauma teaches the body to patrol long after danger passes away. The window offers moonlight and distant street sounds, yet those outside noises feel kinder than the footsteps that belong inside this house. Home should be the place where a cat softens, but this home demands vigilance. So even familiar walls begin feeling like a trap. That is why the smallest household details change meaning, because a doorway becomes a threat, a bottle becomes prophecy, and footsteps become weather. The keys are worst of all, because they announce him before sight, before smell, before voice, giving fear extra seconds to spread. By the first jangle, the cat is already gone.
You're safe.
Not choosing cowardice, but obeying a survival memory carved by endless
Just wanted
nightly
to show
repetition.
you.
Its body moves sooner than thought, sliding low across the floor, because the nervous system has learned to outrun understanding at night. Pupils widen, whiskers freeze, shoulders hunch, and even the tail pulls close, as though every part of the cat wants to disappear. There is no dramatic hiss, no raised paw, no fight, because terror this deep often chooses shrinking over resistance on instinct instead. And still, somewhere beneath that fear, the cat keeps listening for the gentler version of him that sometimes returns with daylight again. That hope is not foolishness so much as attachment, because affection learned early can survive long after safety has disappeared at home. So each rare, gentle morning confuses the wound again, teaching the cat to doubt its fear even when fear keeps proving true. A soft stroke across its back can melt the body for 1 second before memory rushes in and stiffens everything again afterward. Then guilt-like confusion appears in its posture, not because the cat caused anything, but because victims often adapt by blaming themselves silently. It begins moving more carefully through the house, placing each paw lightly, as if caution alone might keep the man calm tonight. It avoids his eyes on hard nights, because direct attention can feel dangerous when someone unpredictable is searching for something to punish. Soon the cat starts reading him like weather, tracking posture, footsteps, breath, and silence for clues about whether the storm will break. A bottle set down too hard, a chair scraped suddenly, a sharper exhale, and its whole body prepares to flee again tonight. Even the hallway floorboards become informants, because every groan under his weight tells the cat how near danger is moving toward it. The house itself starts feeling complicit, holding echoes, shadows, and stale alcohol, as though every room has memorized the same fear there. Under the bed, dust clings to its fur, but even discomfort becomes acceptable when hiding there means one more untouched night alive. That narrow darkness becomes a ritual space where terror, waiting, and exhausted hope all curl together beside forgotten socks and silence nightly. Sometimes it hears him call in a thick voice, and it presses
Kitty?
flatter to the floor, praying stillness
Where are you,
will make it
boy?
invisible. Other nights, he does not call at all, which can feel even worse because quiet drunkenness leaves too much room for surprise. When the house finally falls silent, the cat does not relax immediately, because experience has taught it that stillness can lie too. Only much later does it creep out, stepping carefully past shadows, testing the air before daring to approach the kitchen or water. Sometimes it finds spilled liquor on the table, a bitter smell hanging low, proof that tonight's danger has simply gone to sleep. Then it may see his hand dangling from the bed, harmless for the moment, and the old tenderness stirs painfully again there. Against all reason, the cat sometimes inches closer, sniffing those fingers softly, as if searching for the man it first loved there. That tiny nuzzle can happen in secret, after terror, because attachment does not vanish just because safety has been betrayed repeatedly here. This contradiction is the tragedy. The same person remains both shelter and threat, and the cat has nowhere else to place love. People may call such a cat distant or strange, never realizing that withdrawal can be devotion injured so deeply it hides away. Its silence is not coldness, and its hiding is not rejection. Both are survival habits built inside a damaged bond now daily. The cat still knows his smell, his steps, his morning touch. And that
Hey there,
familiarity
big guy.
keeps the wound open
Found me again,
instead of
huh?
healing fully.
Meow.
That is why trauma here looks quiet, not dramatic, because the deepest fear often lives in watchfulness, shrinking and waiting each night. Every evening
Come
repeats
here.
the same impossible choice.
It's okay.
Stay near the only source of affection, or run from the very same source again. For a small animal trapped indoors,
You don't
love
want to
becomes
leave,
a chain
do ya?
when the person holding comfort is
Stay
also the person
here.
causing fear there.
Meow.
It cannot explain, cannot leave, and cannot understand addiction. So it survives by predicting patterns no creature should ever learn alone here. Then one night, the drunkenness grows heavier than usual, and the whole house feels tighter,
You're in my
louder,
spot.
meaner, before anything even happens inside.
Meow.
A bottle strikes the table too hard, a curse tears through the room, and the cat bolts before thought can catch up. But this time, the hallway closes
damn it.
wrong, and one bad turn leaves the cat cornered between wall, furniture, and the man there. Its body flattens against the corner, trembling so hard that even breathing seems visible. Yet, it still does not raise claws then. Instead, it looks up at him with a fear so naked, it feels almost like a question hanging in the air there. That look
Please,
seems to ask
no.
what it did wrong, why the hands it trusted became the thing it must survive tonight alone. For a brief second, everything stops inside that corner. The man, the cat, the noise, and the unbearable truth between them there. No scream could explain the moment better than those silent eyes, because terror and love are both visible there
I
at
didn't
once
mean
together.
to.
When the room finally quiets, nothing is repaired. There is only shaking fur, trapped breath, and exhaustion where trust used to live. Morning returns again, almost insultingly gentle, laying pale light on the same floor, where fear burned through the dark hours all night. If his hand reaches down softly after waking, the cat may still lean in, because wounded attachment does not break cleanly ever. But even that tenderness cannot undo what the nights have taught, because trust fractured by terror never returns in one piece again. From then on, every key at the door carries the full history with it, not just one evening's fear for the cat. So the cat is haunted before anything happens, reliving old pain in advance, because memory has learned to protect through panic alone. And this is why the story wounds so deeply. Hope keeps surviving, and each surviving piece of hope gives pain another
hey,
doorway
there's
inside.
my little guy.
The cat keeps waiting for the loving version to win, not knowing that waiting itself is becoming another form of suffering daily. Animals cannot describe toxic bonds, but their bodies tell the story plainly, through hiding, freezing, silence, and love that does not feel safe. So when a cat runs from the person it once adored, it may not be rejecting love, but surviving love turned cruel.